Welcome. So today we're going to start a tutorial series here in which I'm going to go over how to use the Mac OS system. We are going to be looking at Mac OS Catalina. Big Sur is coming out soon. However, this video should be perfectly fine for most users. There's only going to be certain changes and the basic function of the Mac isn't going to change that much. Well, I've been a photographer for over 30 years and I started using Macs in 1988 with a Mac SE Plus. What we're going to do is do a series of tutorials in which I'm just going to go over all the functions on the Mac. Anything that you have a question of or just aren't sure how to use, we are going to cover in this tutorial. Now, the first thing that you see here is my screen might look a little bit different from yours. So if you just started your Mac up and you have the default screen, it is not a big deal. This is just a custom screen that I added. You will also notice that the dock is not active at the bottom of the screen on my computer. I actually have my dock over here on the left-hand side, and I will show you how to change that, and I'll explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, the first thing we're going to do is take a look up here in the top left-hand corner, and we have the little Apple sign. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and the first thing is going to be about this Mac, and it's just going to bring up a Mac basic window. What this is going to show you is what operating system you're using, and then basically all about the hardware inside of your computer. Next thing that we have down here is system preferences, and system preferences is really where you go in to configure how your Mac works. And we are going to get to that in a little bit. Next thing we have is the App Store. And if we click off that and we go to the dock, we'll also notice that the App Store is also an app inside of the dock that we can click on as well. So you can either click on this little A for the App Store, or you can come up here and drop down to the App Store. The App Store is where you would buy new software or utilities or extensions for your Mac. Next thing we have is recent items is going to bring up different applications, documents, servers, and in this case, I've cleared the menu. So you can clear that as well. So it starts from the beginning. Force quit is an interesting one. So we're going to go ahead and click on force quit. And that's going to bring up this giant window. I've enlarged it by hitting this green button up here. Now, what you would use force quit for is occasionally as you're running a program, it does crash. And you get this little spinning wheel of death. It's colorful. It looks like a Ferris wheel that spins around. And when you go into force quit, you will notice next to an application that's having issues, it will say not responding. So what you would do is select that and then come down here and hit force quit. That would automatically quit that program so that you can continue working with your computer. Once you've done that, I would suggest that you quit all applications and restart your computer. However, you can restart that application at that point. We're going to go ahead and just click this little red dot up here to close out. The next thing that we have is sleep, and we'll go more into sleep and how to change and set times for sleep. But basically, sleep is a much better function than the old screensaver, where you would have something moving on your screen as a screensaver. In this case, we're going to actually be putting our computers to sleep rather than using that screensaver. And I can set that up for specific time amounts. And I'll show you that inside of your preferences. Sleep is a great option. I actually prefer to put my computer to sleep than to shut it down. I basically never shut down my computer unless I'm going to leave for a week or a month or something like that, and I'm not going to be home. But restarting and constantly restarting a computer is much harder on it than putting it to sleep. Next thing that we have here is restart. So if I need to restart my computer, I can select that. I can shut my computer down. I can lock the screen and I can log out. Now this means me as a user. You can have multiple users on a computer. And if you wanted to log out so somebody else could log back in, what they can do is have their own customized screen and working experience on the computer. All right, and the next set of tools that we have over here is the menu bar. Now you're going to see a lot of icons that you are not going to have, and that is okay, and especially if you have some that are different. My computer has been set up and I have specific ones. The one you are going to have is this very, very first one, and we're going to go ahead and click on that. And the first one is going to say today. And what that's going to allow you to do is to turn on night shift. Now, as a photographer, this is something I never want to use because I have a calibrated monitor. However, night shift will at night dim and change the color of your computer so it's not so hard on your eyes and help you go to sleep. So if you would like that feature on, you could turn that on. I have mine on Do Not Disturb because I was just teaching a class, so I don't want any notifications to be popping up on my computer. And down here we have a bunch of widgets and applications that have information, and you can control this and add and subtract applications there. Right over here we have notifications, and notifications are going to alert you of phone calls, text messages, emails, anything that you have it set up to notify you for. Now, to control your notifications, you're going to go down here to this little gear wheel at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And that is going to bring up notifications. And this is part of the system preferences here. And so you have some information here. So if you don't want to be disturbed between certain times, you can select that when the computer is sleeping. So if you don't want to get notifications when the computer is sleeping, when the screen is locked, when you're mirroring to a TV or a projector, any of that information that you want to set. You can also come over here and control what applications and programs can give you notifications. So you can see books, I have it turned off, I don't get notifications. FaceTime, it's on, I get notifications. So you can control, you can scroll through here and turn anything on or off, and you can also determine the type of notifications that you're getting. The next thing that we have here is Siri, and I'm going to go ahead and turn Siri on and ask her a question, and she should give us an answer. What are the sweetest apples? So you can see right here, it gave us some information on that question, and you can ask Siri anything that you want, and usually she will reply. The next thing is to find, so Spotlight search. And this is a great option. So anything that you want to find on your computer, you can either come up here and click the little spotlight search there, or you can hit Command and Spacebar, and that's going to bring up the spotlight search. So I'm going to type in Disk Utility, which is a program in Utilities. And just like that, it found it. I could just hit return and bam, it will launch Disk Utility. So that is your spotlight search. The next thing that we have here is time and date. So we can set up the time and the date either as analog or digital. And right here are your preferences, and we'll look at those when we look at the preferences. The next thing here is Wi-Fi. Now, I don't have my Wi-Fi turned on right now because I'm using Ethernet, but you could simply turn this on and connect to any Wi-Fi that you would like. The next is Bluetooth. If I want to connect something to Bluetooth, then you could see I have either a keyboard or a mouse. If I want to connect one of those two to Bluetooth, I can easily do that here in this location. The next one is something specific that I brought up, and I will come and talk about the keyboard preferences when I talk about system preferences later. Now, all these other items in the menu bar are custom ones that I have, and most likely you won't have available to you. Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about on this screen is the dock. The dock is mostly applications, but it does have system preferences, the App Store, and a few other options as far as the Mac environment. And basically they're icons to get you to a certain location very quickly. So if I want to come up here and I click on the launch pad, which is this little rocket ship, what it will do is show me the applications that are on my computer. And I can scroll through here and take a look and find what I'm looking for. If I don't have that application over here, I can easily just grab that application. So I'll take Handbrake here and drag it over into the dock and let go, and it will place that application in there. If I want to remove that, I can right click or control click on a Mac, and you can see right here, I've got some options, and I can remove that from the dock, open at login, or show in Finder. In this case, I'm just going to remove it because it's not an application that I use all the time. So we'll be going over more of the dock right here and how I have it configured to what it's doing when we hit system preferences. The last thing that we have here is the trash. So if you do need to remove or delete anything from your computer, you will put it in the trash. And there are multiple different ways to put stuff into the trash. You can see right here, it has something. So I'm going to go up to the Finder and hit empty trash. And that is going to empty the trash just like that. So now we can see there's nothing in my trash. So let's come up here and take a look at Finder. So the Finder is basically the main navigation system on a Mac. Now your Finder on the dock is this little happy smiley face. So when you click on this, it's going to bring up your main Finder window. Right here we have our preferences. Now if we click on preferences, it's going to bring up this little box, and sorry it's so teeny tiny, but the first option is general. What this will allow us to do is, if you notice over here, you don't see anything on my desktop. If I wish to put my hard disk or external drives, I can easily click those and they will appear on my desktop, or I can remove them. I can do that with servers or CDs or iPods. I can also change how my windows open. So in this case, when you saw it, I usually open my Finder window to my downloads folder. I can basically choose any location that I want. So when I come up here, notice mine's always going to open to downloads. But if you wanted to be in pictures, you could change that to pictures. Right here, the last thing is to open folders in new tabs instead of windows. So what that means here is this is a window. A new tab would be a secondary option. If I want to do that, I'll just go ahead and click on this. So if I'm going to open documents, basically I did a quick key and I've opened that, and notice now we have this tab and this tab. So that's opening something as a tab versus a totally new window. All right, and the next thing here is tags, and tags just allow you to highlight or give folders or items certain colors. So basically I can come up here and highlight this, right click and give this a green color, and then it would give this little tag as a green color out here. Now the way I did that was a right click, or on a Mac, if you don't have a right clicking mouse or haven't set it up to do that, you can hit Control and click, and that's like a right click. Come down here and change those options at any time. And if you want to add or subtract, what you're going to do to add, you're going to hit the plus, and if I highlight something and hit minus, it would remove that. So if I wanted to get rid of F, I could come down here, delete tag, and just like that, it's removed that from that location. Next thing we have is the sidebar, and this is the sidebar that we have set up. Now mine has been configured, and I've added some items to my favorites in the sidebar, but you can come over here and control how that looks. So anything that's checked is going to appear, and anything that you remove a check mark for is going to be gone. So in my case, I don't use iCloud Drive, so I have it unchecked and that location is not available. The last thing we have here is advanced, and I'll read over these. So show all file name extensions. File name extensions would be like JPEG. It would be like a JPEG or a .pdf extension. So do you want to see those or not see those? So if I want to see them, I'm just going to go ahead and tick that. If I don't care, I can turn that off. Show warning before changing an extension. So if you do change an extension, it will say, hey, do you really want to change this extension? And then it will if you apply it. Show warning before moving from iCloud Drive. So in this case, I don't use iCloud Drive, but if you were moving something from the iCloud Drive, it would give you a warning. Show warning when emptying the trash. So when I empty the trash, it will say, do you really want to empty the trash? And I would hit OK. The last one is to remove items after 30 days. So if you want the trash to automatically be dumped after 30 days, you would tick this. In this case, I don't use that. Keep folders on tops in Windows when sorting by name or on desktop. When performing a search, where would you like that search to be? So in my case, I have it search the Mac, which is the default, or you could do search for a current folder or previous search scope. In my case, I'm going to be doing that search on a Mac. And that search function is up here. And so you would search on your computer right here. Spotlight search is a little bit different search. So we have the Finder search and then the Spotlight search, which is different. The next thing here is services. So any services that you use, in this case, I was doing import image, which is a way to take images off an iPhone and put them in a specific folder on a Mac. This isn't something that most people actually use a lot, but if you do want to use some services here, and you can see there's also a preference folder to set that up. If you want to hide the Finder, you can hit Command H. So anytime that you see a little key over here, and right there we can see it says Command H. This is the quick key to do hide Finder. And if it was different quick keys such as Command W, that would close the window. So we can hide others. Next thing we have here is File. So we can create a new Finder window, and that would just be a new window. We can create a new folder. So a new folder would be simply like this. We're creating a new folder, and I could simply come in here and type test and give that folder a name. If I decide I don't want that folder, which I don't, I can come down here and drop that in the trash. So we can create a new folder. We can create a new smart folder, and I'll get into smart folders later, but they're just folders with variables. We can create a new tab. We can open a document or open something. We can get info about a document or a folder. In this case, I could click on this test, and then I could come over here and I could put get info, and it would give me the info about that folder, but it doesn't really have any. The next thing is to rename the folder if I wanted to rename it. To compress it. So to compress is when you turn a folder into a zip archive, so a .zip, and you want to compress that because you want to email its contents to another location. You can duplicate a folder. You can make an alias, meaning you're not moving the folder from its original site, but you're going to make an alias, and you can click on that alias and access the folder even though it's in a different location. We can do a quick look at a folder, and right now, because test is selected, so it's saying, do you want to do a quick look on test? However, there's nothing in it, so we're not going to do that. We can add a sidebar. We can move to the trash. So this is the second way to move something to the trash. In this case, I do want to move test to the trash. So I can select that, and you can see it moved it to the trash. We can search, and once again, we had the tags if something was selected to tag. The next is edit. So this is where your copy and paste commands are. Right now, we're not doing anything with copy and paste, so we are going to pass them up. We do have the ability to start dictation, and we'll go over that later. And we also can access emojis and symbols, which I will also show you later when we get into preferences. We have different ways to view things, and these are going to be more easily understood when we look at folder structure. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at folder structure, but just wait a little bit. We have the opportunity to go to certain locations that usually aren't in the Finder very quickly, and those locations are here. The last thing we have is the window, and this will allow you to minimize a window. So if I bring up my Finder window again, we have the option to close the window by clicking the red, to minimize, which is go ahead and put that in the bottom of the dock here, or we can expand this so I can make it go full screen, tiled to the left, which it is right now, or tiled to the right, which it isn't. So window at this point is going to allow us to do some of those options. So instead of clicking on the buttons, we can come up here and do the same thing. The last is a help function. So if you're having trouble doing something, you could type in what you're having difficulty with, and hopefully macOS will find some information to help you out. All right, so what we're going to do next is I've created a folder up here, and we'll just bring it to the center. And what I'm going to do is show you how to change folder structure and everything that you can do inside of a folder. So I've just created this folder, and I have loaded some images on it. Now, one thing I would suggest is you don't store your images on your desktop. It's actually not a good location. You should always use one of your folders over here. So either documents or pictures or movies to store your images. Every time that your screen has to refresh, it has to refresh everything that's on here. And it's just good practice not to put a whole bunch of folders on your desktop. But we're going to go ahead and open this. And what I'm going to do is just send this to full frame. So over here are my favorites. And if you want to add something to your favorites, it is really actually easy to do. You would just go up here. So we will go to something that I don't have. And I don't think I have Time Machine. So what I'm going to do is just simply drag this over. And you can see when I get that little blue line and let go, it's going to add Time Machine to my favorites. I can right click on that, and I can remove or rename. So I can either rename or remove it from the sidebar. In this case, I don't actually want it, so I can remove it. So if you do want to add something to your favorites, it's really easy, but you want to make sure you get that blue line. That's going to let you know that it's going to go into that location. Now right here, I have images that I put in a folder, and these are just some all general basic photos that I have. Up here is going to be your first method of sorting images, and that is going to be by icon. So what it's going to show you is a little thumbnail of your images, and if they're documents, it will just show a document and then the document extension. The next thing that we have here is by list. Actually, list is my favorite. And in list, and I'll show you how you can go in and change this in a second, you can sort by name, by date, size, kind, or whatever other information that you access or put in this bar. I actually prefer date modified, strangely enough, and I like lists because basically I work on photos. The one that I've been working on, the last image that I was working on is usually going to be up here on the top, and that's easy for me to find. Next thing that we have here is probably my second favorite, and this is columns. So what this allows you to do is to navigate like this. So let's click on the desktop and select columns. And what that does is it creates columns. And then, so the desktop, and on the desktop, I only have one folder, which is test. And when I click on that, inside that folder are these images. So it shows you the navigational path of your images when you do it this way. So that is columns. And the last thing is cover flow. So we have a series of images here that I've just randomly downloaded from the internet. And as we go through them, it's showing us the contents inside of that folder, and it gives us a little information and tag about it. That is cover flow. The next thing that we have here is a way to sort. So right now we are sorting by name, but we can sort by kind, date last opened, date added, date modified, date created, size, and tags. Right here, we have some settings, so we can create a new folder inside of this folder. So if I want to create a new folder, I can just hit new folder. And now you can see there's an untitled folder. I could give that a name if I wanted. We can open a new folder. We can move a folder to the trash. We can get information about that folder. We can rename, we can compress, we can duplicate, make an alias. Let me make an alias real quick of something. So basically, let's go to pictures, and hopefully I have a folder in pictures, and we will go to background textures. And what I'm going to do is come up here and go to file, and I'm going to put make alias. And so what that does is it gives me this little folder, and you can see there's a little weird like arrow right here. And what I'm going to do is drop that onto the desktop. And now when we go to the desktop, if I click on that alias, it's automatically going to bring up the contents that are inside of that textures. This isn't the folder, but it's sending me to the path of where that is. So if you wanted to have a whole bunch of aliases and they went directly to a specific location, that's what you would do. I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to have move to trash because I don't want that folder. The next thing that we have is a quick look. So if I click quick look, it's going to show me quickly what is inside of that folder of test. So it's just giving us a quick look inside of that folder. We're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Something I don't really find helpful or something that I don't use. If you want to import from your phone so you can see that I've imported or used my phone or anything that you want to import from, use groups, sort by, and once again, you can sort by different methods. You can tag your folders. So you'll give them a little label. So I'll give this one a purple, and you can see it's tagged it and give it a little purple label. New terminal tab folder and new terminal. Most of you guys are never going to be entering terminal, so don't worry about that at this moment. If you want to share items, this is going to be your share button. So you can send by email, by messages, by AirDrop, by notes, and anything else that you add. AirDrop is a Mac only thing. If you have an iPhone and a Mac, you can easily share images back and forth. So you would click on a picture. You would actually come over here to AirDrop, and then what it's looking for, I don't have my Wi-Fi on, and it needs to be on because it does it by Wi-Fi. But if my phone was close to this location, and I can turn this on just so you can see it, we can go ahead and I want to share that with my phone. So the trick on this is if you are using Wi-Fi, you need to make sure that both items are on the same Wi-Fi, and mine aren't. So now you can see my phone showing up, and I could just click on that and automatically share that image with my phone. That's how AirDrop works. So we can just go ahead and double click and open this folder. Once again, we'll make this large. So there's some view options and some other options that we didn't cover before. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to go all the way down to view. So here we can view as icons, lists, columns, gallery, and these are the same as these options right here. You can also arrange or sort, so we can sort by name and it will rearrange those by name. We can come back up here, view, we can sort by size or anything that we want to. All right, so now that we're here inside of this test folder, what we're going to do is take a look at a few of the different view options. So the first thing that we have here is we can view as icons, just like we could before. And remember, it's also selectable right up here as well. We're going to go ahead and go to list, because what we actually want to do is take a look at something that is different. So we can come up here and go to customize toolbar. And customize toolbar is going to allow us to add items to our toolbar. So you can see right up here, we have this toolbar. So if I want to add something to the toolbar, so I'm going to take eject and I can just drag this up in here and place it just like that. So anything that you would want to add to your toolbar, you can easily customize. So everything is available here. And if you want to add it here, you could do it. And you could do the opposite where you could drag one out and put it back in here. And once you're done, you can hit done and you're done with that. And now I can easily click on things to make them ejectable. Now, I'm probably not going to use eject, but trash might be helpful for me. So what I can do is come up here and go back to customize toolbar. And now I've decided I don't want eject. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And then I'm going to grab that trash icon, which was, I have no idea, right here. So delete, and I'm going to put the delete button up there, which is something I might want to use. And I'm going to go ahead like that. And now when I select this, I can easily just hit the delete button and it will delete that file. So that is how you customize your toolbar. The next thing I'm going to show you is something that I suggest that everybody do. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to go to show path bar. And what this does right here is down on the bottom, it shows you the path of where this is located at. So a lot of times when you're searching, and we'll just do a spotlight search for this same item right here. I'm going to hit Command Spacebar to bring up Spotlight, and I'm going to type in I, and it's going to bring up that file right here. So I'm going to select this. So what that will do is let you know where that specific file is. It's on your Macintosh hard drive in users. This is my username. This is the desktop. This is the folder on the desktop, and this is where the file is. A lot of times when you're searching for stuff and then you get into the Finder, you really have no idea where you're at. So by clicking on this, this will let you know where this specific file is located. A lot of times when people are just learning their computers, they save files, but they really have no idea where they save the file to. If you search it and then find it, this will tell you the location of where it's located. You can always come down here and hide it after that, but in this case, I'm definitely going to keep that. The next thing that I think is helpful is show view options. And what we're going to do is switch over to icon view because this is going to make more sense. So we're going to go to view, show view options. And in this, it's going to let us change just about anything that we want. So we can change, we can group by certain ways, we can sort by certain ways. So you would just click on this and you could do it. So if I wanted to group or sort, so if in this case I want to sort by name, I can hit by name and it's going to do it alphabetically by name. You can also change your icon size. So if you can't see those little teeny icons and you need something larger, I think this is something definitely that people are going to use. We have that. We can change the grid spacing. Now we don't really have any grids at this point. So we can change the text size and make the text size larger. If you have poor vision close like I do, enlarging the text size is definitely helpful. I'm going to remove this because I don't actually use it. If you want to see the item's info, you can click on it and that will give you information about that file. And then if you want to change the background color, which I don't know why most people would do this, but you could change it or you could add yourself a picture. But in this case, we're just going to go ahead and use the default. And that is under the view. And you can view a whole bunch of different ways and sort by a whole bunch of different ways. A lot of this is just items that you need to play around with. And then once you kind of figure out what you like, you can set it and you never have to really touch it again. All right, that is going to be it for this video. The next video, we are going to go and head into the system preferences, and we're going to go over everything. You're going to know what they do. I'm also going to explain if they're important and there's items in there that you need to change. So a lot of items, they're there. I'm going to tell you what they are, but there's nothing you really need to change. And then there's some things where you might want to change it and some things where you definitely want to change it. So I'll see you next time. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.